Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another Luck of the Draw podcast. I'm so happy to be back again recording another video for you guys and talking about my favorite thing, which is cEDH. So, firstly, I just want to give you some updates on the channel, and then we're going to go a little bit into some deck therapy, just trying to figure out where the meta is in my mind and try to piece apart the decks that I most want to play, and we'll get into that later. But just like I said, quick updates, and obviously, I'm going to say the same things I always do at the beginning of these videos. But firstly, sorry that we've been a little bit behind on scheduling. The last gameplay video that I recorded, my computer died in the middle of recording it in the middle of the second game. So we're trying to work out how to get the first game back from our files. I don't think it actually saved to my computer since my computer died. So we're trying to figure out a way to maybe get that file back and record just the one game that we have as like an extra video in the next couple weeks. Also, I've been super busy recently with my own schedule outside of YouTube, so that's another reason why it's been a little bit delayed, but don't worry. I'm going to try to bust out a bunch of like these mini podcasts, shorter little videos just to get back at you guys and try to get the channel up moving. But secondly, if you want to support this channel and want to be part of the videos that I make, you can go down to the Discord in the description linked below. If you join that Discord, you'll have access to talking to me and all the other people who've been on the gameplays and have contributed to the ideas behind some of these podcasts and gameplay design. So if you want to be part of the podcasts, recording with me and recording gameplays over on Spell Table, go down to the Discord. And if you like content like this, talking about cEDH, you can like and subscribe because that tells me that I can continue to make videos like this because people like you enjoy it. So those are kind of like the quick hitters I want to hit on firstly in the first couple minutes of the videos. But now I want to get through a little bit of deck therapy. Obviously, you've seen me play on the channel the Tymna Thrasios build that I originally alluded at in my first podcast, and then you've been seeing me play a little bit of Bergrid Cradle. Yes, I've corrected the name. It's not. I know. It's not Bergrid. That's what I'm saying. It's not Bergrid. It's Brigid. And also, I have also learned that when you transform it to the backside, you don't make a Kifkin. It's only when it transforms to the front and enters on the front side. So technically, that's it's kind of irrelevant because all the other gameplays, every time I transformed it with the green mana, I made a 1/1 because I thought it does. But after a reread of the card, I kind of was like, oh, that's not what it does. I don't think it matters like that much. I never won a game with it. I'm still building around it and trying to see if it's a good deck to play or not. But I'm still in the process of kind of learning the deck a little bit and trying to get down some of the main combo lines. I'm definitely going to be playing with it more and more and more before I take it apart. But I definitely just wanted to reiterate that as it's been one of my most recent cEDH decks, and I've been actually liking it quite a lot. I've always wanted to build like a sub. It is a fringe deck, but I also think it has the potential to be like a tier 2 deck when built with the right things. And obviously green and white are only ever going to get better. I think they're one of the best colors in the game. They have a lot of strengths to them when paired together. So I think if I just build it for a while and kind of go forward with it, I'm definitely going to see some success. On top of that, like, for anybody who, avidly watches Magic spoilers and is in the conversation and loves to be in with all of the media surrounding the spoiler season of new sets, you probably already know the Turtles Forever card, the 4 mana search for 4 legendary creatures. That's like a combo in any white deck or like any white something deck. It's definitely going to be a card that I'm going to look to try to get copies of when the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle set comes out, and it definitely will go in this deck because there is some legendary creature combos that pair really, really well in this deck. Trying to find like a Shia or trying to find like a Meal or something. So like at the top of my head, I can think of like Emil and Flash Thompson, infinite untaps with the flicker ability of Emil. That's obviously an easy way to win with legendary creatures, but I'll obviously think of more and more ways as those cards come out. But I just want to quickly mention like the main way I like to build decks, especially for a cEDH, like quote unquote cEDH meta, because I have casual decks that I love to play. I don't really apply this to them. I kind of do. But the main way I like to build cEDH is I like to have 2 pairs, so 2 decks, of colors that make Wooburg. So if you don't know what I mean, I'll give you an example. My current deck, Selenayna, which is my Brigid Cradle deck, is Selenayna. The opposite colors of Selenayna is Grixis. So I have built a Rogsai deck list that I've never played because I probably plan to play it on like an upcoming episode to give myself a break from Bridget a little bit. But I've never played it. I just put it together because it's the opposite of Selesnya. I don't know why my brain thinks like this. I think it comes from like Play to Win, because I take a lot of my inspiration from them. Like Cameron from Play to Win, he built Atali and loves Atali, and to counteract that, he built originally Timna Malcolm and then built Blue Farm. And while yes, there's a color overlapping, I think those are two, like Atali and Blue Farm are two totally different strategies of cards and in the way that they just functionally play. So I think just like having that like offset of like Atali tempo, speed, and like fast Gruul versus what is currently like mid-range hell to sub fast Blue Farm. Like those are totally two different strategies with two different bases of cards within color. Because basically Blue Farm is just Esper splash red sometimes, or sometimes it can be Grixis splash white. But I think the way Cam is playing it, it's Esper splash red. So two different strategies, but originally he had a Gruul deck and an Esper deck. And then if you look at like another member of Play to Win, you look at someone like Tyler, his main deck for like years, like going on like 5 years, I think, ever since it probably was printed, is Kinnan. He loves Simic. He loves Kinnan. To counteract that, he always has a Mardu deck, which are the other three colors. He built Timna Krark, and then he built I think he had a Diata deck, and then I think he's on his final iteration of a Mardu deck, which is Tim Dargo. So basically what I'm saying is the way I like to build my cEDH decks is having a 2-card deck, like 2-color card deck, so like right now it's Selesnya, and then building around a Grixis pile. Or that's basically where I'm at. Or built. So basically, those are my two strategies I know: Selesnya and Grixis. But the main gist is I like to have a 3-color deck or a 2-color deck, or maybe possibly I could be convinced, depending on it plays the way it plays, having a 4-color deck, like maybe rebuilding Timothracios, or maybe going into a Blue Farm strategy just for like a tournament, and then my secondary deck being a mono-color deck. So if it was theoretically Blue Farm, if I built a Blue Farm list, which I could, I have the pieces to do that, my alter deck would be a mono green deck, and it probably would be like Silvala or something, just finicky, fun. Maybe Yashan. I love Yashan in cEDH. I have my own Yashan casual deck that works really, really well with Crater of the Hooflines. But see, like if that was like an example, I would build those. So I just want to go over maybe some like scenarios of color combos that I've been really, really wanting to build, and that I don't know how quite to build them yet, and maybe they will probably become my future color combinations depending on the meta shifts. So the first one I wanted to mention, obviously, is one I already mentioned before. It's Simic and Mardu. So this is using blue-green for Simic, and then red, black, and white for the Mardu colors. Now, obviously, this might come as like more of a shocker, actually, but the main deck to get out of that I'd probably play more is Timna Dargo. And then maybe like, why would you play Kinnan? It's like, I don't know, I just don't like Kinnan. Like, yes, it's a powerful deck. Just now, I don't know why. I've never been... Whenever, like, I go into EDH Top 16 and I see the top 5 decks, I instantly am like, nope, I'm not playing those. I don't like to play the super popular decks. I don't usually have a lot of the pieces or proxies or real cards to put together a real list for any top 5 decks. Which is the reason why I can't really build Kinnan right now, is because I don't have enough of the pieces to build it. And it's also just because I probably wouldn't play it. The difference between that and playing Selesnya Grixis is like, I'll probably play Grixis. I'll probably play Rogsai, which I guess defeats the purpose of me saying I wouldn't play a top 5 deck. But I think, I kind of just built it because it's basically the only Grixis deck that's like viable outside of maybe Azula or Kefka right now. And I might put Kefka together. But I know I'm kind of biting my tongue on this a little bit. But I just said I want to play top 5 decks, so I put together Rogsai. But I think this is kind of an exception because it's like the only good Grixis deck. But anyways, I don't have the pieces or really the willpower to try and build Kinnan. The main deck, like I said, I probably would be building is Timna Dargo. I love Timna Dargo. It seems like a really fun deck. I have a lot of the pieces. When I ordered my proxies online, I made sure I put in like the niche, like singles and weirdo commons that just randomly go in Timna Dargo, because I was like, I want to build this deck. And then obviously the Lord Wind set came out, and I was like, I want to build Brigid, I want to build Burgrid or whatever, however the hell you pronounce it, and I want to put that together and then maybe a Grixis pile and then work my way from there. I probably will eventually put together a Timna Crom. That's not right. Timna Dargo list because, like I said, white is only getting better, and there looks like to me there's a lot of really good red cards that have been coming out, like Hexing Squelcher and Spiderpunk seems like a really funky card I want to play right now in cEDH. So I might, put those two decks together eventually. And you might be asking yourself too, like, why do I want to do that? Well, the reason I want to play with opposite colors is because it helps me understand the meta. It helps me understand how to fetch right. Like, be honest with yourselves. Like, we all mess up a fetch once in a while. We Misty Rainforest for a scrub land. Like, we all do that, Or we Volcanic Island for, Volcanic Island is one of the dual lands. What am I talking about? You Scalding Tarn for a Bayou. Like, we've all done it. Like, it just happens. So it just helps me learn how to fetch properly. And like I said, it just gets me more prepared of playing all of the cards and all of the colors in the meta. So that is kind of why I like to play opposite colors. I like to play two different colors at once. And if I disobey that rule, it's for a really specific reason. Like I'm building a deck for a gameplay video, but mostly I like to have opposite colors when I build my decks. So another kind of combo pairing, I kind of alluded to it already in Cam a little bit, but Gruul Esper, even though I've never played it on the channel yet, it's secretly one of my favorite color combinations. I love the two card combos it has, like Thassa's and Tainted Pact, and some of the token making infinite combos, which are more like 3 card combos technically. I also just love the commander selection, a lot of value. There's a lot of ways to really grind out the game in Esper, depending on if you play stacks or if you play mid-range or you just play draw engines until you have a card, or you have your hand is just like 40 cards. Like, I just love the value that Esper has. The only problem with it is like, yes, the commanders are good. Not a lot of them are like super, super good. Like, yes, Tivit's good, but I feel like Tivit is just too bland and too like popular for me. Like I said, I don't want to play like popular, quote unquote, popular like styles. Like, that just seems too boring to me. Marnius Calgar seems cool, but I have the same problem with Cannon. I don't have all the proper proxies or cards yet to put not Grixis, an Esper deck currently together. The only realistic one I could see myself doing right now is doing a Timna Malcolm strategy. That deck seems super cool, and I would love to work on it. But also, at the same time, it's just like, if I'm going to play Timna Malcolm, I might as well just play Blue Farm, because it's literally just junior Blue Farm. So it just, that kind of is why I've pushed away from Esper, even though it's kind of like my favorite color combination. And then actually the only deck that I want to make cEDH eventually, just depending on if I do make it or not, that actually is one of my casual decks. It's Gruul. It's a dinosaur. She is awesome. I don't know if you know this. The dinosaur is a she. That's the commander I'm trying to get at here. Now, most people don't know that, but it's a Tali. Tali's a girl. But yes, I love me some good Atali. I love playing casually with Atali, like a low 4. So over time, I want to eventually just make that a cEDH deck that I kind of sub in and out of my rotation of colors slowly over time. Another color combination that I've really considered going back and forth on is Bant Rakdos. Obviously, my preferred commanders of playing Bant would probably be Derevi. I know, like, maybe is a little weird, like, why not play Yoshi-Thras? I'm like, Yoshi-Thras is cool, but like, there's a lot of niche things you can do with Derevi that make it kind of cool. So I want to play Derevi a little bit, do some Emil lines, just totally, fuck it up. And then probably my Rakdos deck would be Obnixilis, but Obnixilis is such a weird strategy. Like, it plays pingers and it plays value. And while I think the deck can be really, really good, it's just not a deck I see a whole lot. I don't have a lot of knowledge on. So I'd have to, like, pull back the curtains and kind of go through building a Grixis, or not Grixis. Why I keep saying Grixis? I don't know why. Rakdos pile and kind of learn how to play Rakdos a little bit. So that's kind of pushed me away from it. It's just, like, kind of hard to play a little. I'm not super interested in it. I could be convinced depending on how much I just want to play Bant, because I'm already playing Selenayna Brigid, and I love a good Bant shell, but I just don't know if I'd be convinced to play Rakdos as much. as I would want to. The final color combination that was kind of in question that I always try to look for when building decks is obviously Teamer. I love Teamer. Teamer is one of my favorite colors. I love Loot, the Pathfinder. I love Rograk Thrasios. That's such a fun gimmick deck that I would really actually like to put together. And then I don't think of any. Can't really think of any other Teamer commanders, but like maybe Animar. Animar's really fun. Has the one card kind of infinite combo of infinitely casting stuff. And I have a friend who has a cEDH Animar deck and absolutely destroys with it. But the only problem with that is, again, which is why I'm going through like this deck therapy, is kind of like the opposite of Teamer is Orzhov, and there's not a lot of good Orzhov decks. There's Lotho, maybe, as like a value deck. There's Ketramos, which never worked. It was supposed to be a pretty good commander. Whenever you put a card in exile from your graveyard, draw a card. But that sounds great. Just never worked out. And then there's like, I can't even think of any. There's like only two. And the only reason I'm thinking of those two is because Lotho's legendary, and Ketramos, I was researching a little bit because I actually did kind of want to put it together, but then I realized it kind of sucks. The win lines are horrible, and it's just not a good deck. It's super French and not worth my time. So I would put together Rograk Thrasios, but it would take away cards that I currently have in my two decks. It would take away the red cards and Rograk Silas, Rogsai, and it would take away a bunch of cards from the green side of my Selesnya deck. So I think I'm just gonna try to chill in this Selesnya Grixis pile as long as possible. And who knows, I might switch it up come the next set. Like I said, I love white going forward as a color combination, so I definitely want to have my main deck be a white deck. I also want my main deck to be red. So I may put together Tim Nadargo probably pretty soon. Maybe have that as one of my decks, and then off of that maybe build a Simic deck. Maybe build like some Thrasios Fringe Simic deck, or just build Kennen, honestly. But the whole point of this video was to just kind of talk about just something that I've been a little stuck on recently is, what colors am I going to play in cEDH? And for people asking, like, why don't you just play like a 5-color deck and then any color you want? I would be fine with that. I have a Kenrith the Returned King. I have a physical copy of one. I have copies of Sisay. I have a lot of cards that go in Sisay, and I probably could build a Sisay list or an Asika list or a Najila list. I could build a 5-color good stuff deck or like a Terra deck. That's fine. But that just takes up too many individual singles from my personal collection of cards that it's just like, if I take apart both of my decks to make one big giant Wooburg deck, it could work, but at the same time, like, while 5-color good stuff piles are good, they're only good to a certain point, and I feel like with how much I'm losing putting the deck together, I'm losing so many pieces that I can't build a second deck. And also the fact that I just don't think 5-color good stuff is good outside of Sisay. Like, yes, like Terra can be good and Kenrith can be good, but Kenrith hasn't been good in a while. Proving my point further, it hasn't really been doing well in tournaments. And then Terra, only really super popular because Dylan from Play to Win has also been winning a bunch with it. And I could be convinced to play it. I just think it takes out too many pieces from my collection, and it just doesn't seem like something I want to do. I know that the collection part, like me saying I don't have the cards to build, is like that's an easy fix if I print stuff, but like ruling that out as as like a limitation, like being real, I just don't think that it's good. I don't think it would be. I think it would be a little too hard for me to try to play. It seems really confusing. So I think having two decks that are opposite colors is a little bit easier than having one 5-color deck. Or maybe a 5-color deck and then something else, because then I would have to really challenge myself to build a 5-color deck and then learn, which would probably be my main deck, honestly, if I build a 5-color deck. But then building a 5-color deck on top of another deck just seems a little complicated, and just seems like, to me, just not where I want to be. I want to play opposites. I don't want to play everything and then a little bit of that, and then, or just play one game where it's like, oh, I play with all of the colors, did all the things, and go to another deck that's like, where'd that all go? Like, where's my Tarnished Citadel? Where's my 5-color weird lands? Where's my gimmicky, like, hands where I have to figure out how to fetch? It just, like, it doesn't really, like, work for me. Like, I feel like just, like, that switch back and forth of having everything in 5-color and then going back to maybe, like, a 2 or 3-color deck and being like, where was that? Where, like, where are those cards? I just feel like it'd be kind of confusing in my brain to just go back and forth between that having everything and then not having everything. So basically, the whole point of this podcast was just to get out a couple of my thoughts talking about the cEDH meta and where it kind of stands on my end of things. This might not have been a super productive podcast, quote unquote, super entertaining, but I think it's just for me to get out to the viewers and for you guys, just kind of broaden my horizons, kind of speak out loud about, not like a problem, but just what I do when I build decks. And so if you have any recommendations for where you kind of stand, what decks you play, or what color combos you think are the best between using all 5 of the colors in the comments, and what color combinations you would like me to build and play simultaneously if you have 2 decks in mind that are opposite colors. Or maybe one color in common that have 2 different strategies. I think that will be fine too. So if you enjoyed this video and me yapping for about 10 minutes about color combinations and cEDH and why I like to build some more than others and where my deck building is currently, like and subscribe. And who knows, I'll probably get back to a couple of you who comment talking about the decks that you recommended I should play, or the color combinations you think I should play, or your experience with deck building in cEDH. So with that, I'm probably going to get off for the night. Like I said, link in the description for the Discord if you want to be part of all of the gameplay and podcast recording, or be part of the creation of these videos. You can go down to the Discord and be part of that. And if you want to like and subscribe, that tells me that I get to continue making content for people like you who choose to watch it. I'm signing off. Have a great rest of your day, and I guess Selenayna and Grixis is my flavor of the month.